Okay. So welcome to the Integrated Resources Institute Informational Interview Program, all about jobs. Today we're talking with Blake Lewis. He's a singer, songwriter, beatboxer, and he was runner-up of the 6th season of American Idol. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but we're so curious what you're doing lately. We have a lot of people on the line and welcome your questions. To ask a question, you can type your questions into the chat box. You can also just interrupt in the middle, at the end of a question, after Janet has asked a question, Blake has answered the question, then you can say, excuse me, I have a question, and you can ask your own question. We'd like to make this a conversation. The session is being recorded, so for the sake of audio quality, please mute your own audio. And we are interviewing Blake today. As I mentioned, we have Coach Janet Murr. At this point, I will turn it over to you, Janet.
Thank you very much, Wendy. And Blake, welcome. Thank you so much for being here and giving us some of your time.
Of course, thanks for having me.
I've been doing a lot of reading about you, and there are so many things that you do and have done. And so, yeah, it was really impressive. So let's get started. I wanted to talk to you first a little bit about auditioning for American Idol. I'm a huge fan here, so I've watched probably all of the seasons. First question is...
all the freaking season. Wow, whoopee.
Yeah, I know. Please tell us about the process of auditioning for Please tell us about the process of auditioning for American Idol. In what city did you audition? And do you know how many people auditioned on that day? And do you know how many people auditioned in total to get a spot on the show?
Wow. Okay, so I auditioned in Seattle, Washington, at Key Arena. And that was the first audition. There was about 10,000 people that day waiting in line, and it had to be one of the most cliche Seattle rainy days. Everyone with their Starbucks in hand, and it just poured rain, and they made us wait in line outside for 4 hours before they even let us into Key Arena. So that was fun. As far as all of the other states, I think they did about 10 states maybe that season. So I'm guessing over 100,000 people auditioned. I don't know the exact number. But the auditioning process is a long one. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5 or 6.
Listen, American
5 auditions until you get to Hollywood Week, which is then 3 days there of auditioning. And then if you make it through then, you get the top 40, which is another audition, and then you're on the show. So it's like 7 to 9 auditions before you make that top 24. It's a rigorous process, and it took, I believe, from 4 or 5 months, I think it was, something like that.
That's a lot more than I thought. I figured you just go in, they say, yay, you go to Hollywood, then they put you on the 20, but that's interesting.
It's a year-round thing for them, for the producers of that show. I mean, I think they get 3 weeks off a year or something, and then they're back on, back on schedule for the next batch of kids or contestants and talent.
Okay, second question is, did you have any friendships or know anybody who's also auditioning, or that you may have found out later that had auditioned?
Funny enough, actually, so you go through the first round, which is just the cattle call, the 10,000 people, and then the next audition in that city is whittled down to about 600 people, and in that line, I saw my friend Rudy Cardenas, who I'd sing an a cappella with, and he actually made it all the way to the top 24, and we were on the show together, which was crazy. And for auditioning, I didn't know I was going to audition for American Idol. My buddy just called me the night before and was like, "I'm picking you up, and you're gonna do it." So I didn't have a choice in the matter, and I'm glad he did. And so that was cool. So I was with a buddy for my first audition, and then the next audition I had another buddy in line. So that was awesome.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, who would have thought out of 10,000 people that he made it to the top 25, you said?
The top 24, yeah, 12
Great.
guys, 12 girls on
Yeah.
my season. Yeah.
Okay, so my next question is, how did you prepare for the audition? Did you do any research, talk with people who have been there? And if so, how did you find those people?
I had no idea. Like I said, I had no idea I was going to be auditioning for American Idol. So I just showed up, with the current songs that were on the radio at the time, which was, Maroon 5. And I've already been a gigging musician for uh, almost 7 years at that point. So I have a lot of knowledge of music in my head. So I sang Seal's Crazy, which is something I just learned on the guitar. And those were the two pieces that I had. And you're only really singing for 30 seconds. So, you don't have to get too elaborate. You just got to make sure those 30 seconds to a minute are tight.
Yeah, okay,
All right. Janet, I have a polling question to launch.
great. Why don't you
All right.
jump right in with that?
All right. So we'd like to know, has anybody here been interested in auditioning for a televised talent contest? You got 4 options. So let's find out what you think.
I said yes.
I'm all in. I'm like, yeah, I'd like to win.
I was so close.
It seems like anybody who gets to that top tier, they get so much attention. It's like winning anyway.
It just being on the show felt like winning, and especially then, I mean, there was 30 million people watching a week, which is crazy the highest rated shows nowadays are like 5 million people watching them.
I mean,
So,
that was incredible at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at this. We have a lot of people who would love to attend as an audience member.
it's very fun to attend with those shows. There's a lot of energy in those rooms, and yeah, they put a lot of money into those stages and the lighting, and it sounds cool. You're in a full, like, best sounding concert you've ever been to. It sounds better in the room than it does on TV by 1,000 times.
Wow. So fun. All right. Back to you, Janet.
Back to me. All right. All right. This question I love. So beatboxing, such a big part of your audition and of the key performances on the show. Can you describe what beatboxing is and how you personally use it? So a brief demonstration is always welcome, but not
Of course.
necessary.
This is my description of beatboxing. Oh yeah. There you go.
Yay!
So the one thing I have for you for those questions is, I was told not to beatbox on these auditions from other beatboxers, because when I got on the show, or when I started auditioning and making it after the first audition, I called everyone I knew, and I knew some beatboxers that have auditioned that were also great vocalists, and they were like instantly turned down. So I went in there, I was like, I'm not beatboxing at all. And so my first 3 auditions, I didn't beatbox at all. And then they have your accolades and all the things that you've done. And Randy had that, and he was like listening, and he was like, you're the beatbox champion of Seattle and Portland and Canada, like in Vancouver, like you're gonna beatbox for us, And I was like, I'm here to sing. I don't want to do it. No, thank you. I'm here to impress you as a singer, this is, it's not a beatbox competition, you know what I mean? So I kept saying, no, just being kind of bashful, and he made me do it. And then that's what the editors and America saw. They never saw me sing until I was on the show, and it was live.
I'm so glad they didn't just put you into that place. I'm so glad they got to, hear you sing, because a lot of times you just say beatboxer, beatboxer. So that definitely a testament to you.
Singing was my passion first, and then I found beatboxing in high school, and it was just like a no-brainer to like bring the two together. And it's always been a battle for me to represent myself as a singer when the beatboxing kind of got overshadowed on American Idol because they kept showing it. That's not the case anymore. But
Yeah, I know, I can tell it's not the case anymore.
definitely my development as an artist it was. So
It's like somebody on a sitcom and they have their one phrase. Every time
yeah,
somebody sees them, they're like, say the thing, say the thing.
right. Or
Like,
the Carlton.
I've moved on. I have like
Yeah.
movies. And they're like, say the thing. Yeah, so yeah, I get that. All right. So next question, we're moving on. So participating in American Idol, how did you prepare for each new episode and song?
Good. That's a great question. I brought a little studio, like you see behind me, just like a keyboard, speakers, my guitar, and just a little keyboard. And basically, I looked at American Idol for me as a remix competition because I never sang covers. I didn't really do a lot of karaokeing, and I'm a huge fan of electronic music and remixes. And so when I got there, I was just like, how can I be different than anyone else? Because I'm not this huge singer. I have a vibe. I know who I was at that moment. And here I am competing against like the greatest vocalists that they picked, And so I was like, how can I set myself apart? I'm gonna remix it. So what I did is I would take the original song, I'd throw it in one of my programs, and I would beatbox to it. I'd play different chords to it. I would slow it down. I would speed it up. Um, change the key. And that's what I did every night before we had to go into the studio and do that with arrangers because they have, four different like arrangers and vocal coaches helping you for the show as well. So I would come in with like a CD and be like, here's my arrangement. And they're like, wait, you got it done already? Like, no, we're supposed to help you arrange it. And I was like, no, I'm cool. I do my own thing. You know what I mean? If this is a voting show and I have to represent myself true to form, 100% Blake, then I don't want other people telling me what to do. That's just who I am. I stick to my guns and my instincts. And because every time that I stop doing that, I fail. So that was basically my one strategy going into American Idol. And my second strategy was just to say thank you all the time and smile.
Yes, especially since you have so many facets to you. So I can see where you'd come in and they'd say, okay, here's what we want you to do, but at least you had that to be able to show them.
Mm-hmm.
So I like
Janet, we have a question.
Right.
We have a question. Courtney wants to know, how did you choose what song to do?
Okay, so the first 3 weeks of American Idol, you could choose any song you wanted to if you can get the publishing rights, because you have to have the rights of the person who wrote the song to sing it on a television show. So I wrote before I got on American Idol, because as soon as you got the top 24, they're like, these are your weeks. Like we have like Bon Jovi week, we have Gwen Stefani. If they have it planned, they tell you, and you have to like submit as soon as you get on the show of like all the songs that you would ever want to sing. So I tried to represent myself with current songs, vocalists that I sound like, and that I love to sing. Those were like the 3 requirements for me. And if I couldn't get those licensed, like what were the backups? So the first 3 things out of the gate, the 3 weeks, because you don't know if you're gonna make it. I might only just did one show and got voted off. So the first song I sang, I was kind of defying the producers and the judges because they wanted me to beatbox, and I sat down and I sang a ballad, and I was the only person that night to sing a ballad. It was kind of like they're telling me I'm gonna fail doing that, and I was like, then I fail. You know what I mean? I don't think art is competition, and here I am on a singing competition show, so I'm gonna do me, and it worked out. The next week, I I sang, what did I sing? I sang Virtual Insanity by Jamiroquai because that was like my vibe, like funky, dancey, soulful, fun. Like that's just a fun song. And that I think you just was that's who I want people to see me as, you know? And so that was kind of the vibe for the whole show. I wanted everyone to have fun. That's, you know, so that's how I picked my songs. I was like, will the American people like it? Was it a popular song? Was it like almost like in the top 10? Was it in the top did it chart at all? You know what I mean? You can think about those things, but the main thing was, you know, is this fun? If I'm having fun, you know, hopefully people watching, you know, will have fun too.
I like that. And
But
also taking a lot of risks too. You weren't afraid to take the risks. I love that. Okay.
yeah, it was a risk to other people, but to me, it was just me being me. So it's kind of funny people's perception, and that was like the real reality of the show is like people only get to see like 2 minutes of you. How can you represent yourself the best?
Okay. So let's see.
And thank you, Courtney.
Did you learn anything from the American Idol experience that you continue to apply now?
Yes. Well, when like I was saying, I talked about instincts and going with your gut feelings. I bit my tongue a couple times on that show, and I really wish I hadn't, looking back. But far as what I learned is if it's something new and you're curious and you don't know certain things, ask for help. And that one's a tough one for a lot of people to, you know, to swallow. A lot of people have a lot of pride and they're like I can't. They're too afraid to ask for help. Um, so I learned a lot in that. I talked to everybody on set. I talked to the lighting guy. I talked to the musical directors. I talked to the audio engineers, which there's multiple because there's the audio engineers for the show, and then there's the audio engineers for the room. Um, I learned a lot, you know, just by asking questions. So um, I learned about a lot about myself and my personal strength, and you know, um, and then learning that even even though I thought I was good, I wasn't at certain points. You know, like having failure and making mistakes and how to get better, and I mean, it was a real boot camp far as the television is concerned because I had filmed stuff and I'd made music videos and whatnot prior to American Idol, but you know, being on a show with 14 different cameras and learning how to speak to people and learning how to speak to journalists and you know, I used to say so a lot when I speak, so, you know, and you learn your tics, um, which are good or bad. You know, you get to see yourself in so many different ways. So there's a so for you.
So, um, so,
Yeah. So a lot of people that so and the ums and the
wow,
so's. You
I'm
know,
gonna have to, and interrupting. I'm gonna have to look at,
and I'm a tangent king. So if I go off on track, you know,
yeah,
I guess I haven't learned what they taught me 13 years ago.
I think I should work on every single one of those. Thank you. All right, let's see. Do you keep in touch with any of the other contestants or judges?
I do. I just saw Paula in October. I went to her show in Vegas, her opening show, which is no longer there. Obviously, there's not much going on anymore. But that was real fun. I used to see Randy all over the place, like all over like different states. Whenever I would do an event, I was like, "There's Randy," and I I haven't really seen Simon after the show ended for me. I saw him one time at a concert. I think that was like 12 years ago. But far as my season and other seasons of American Idol, yeah, we're like all cousins. You know, we always talk to each other, whether it's on social media or we're actually talking to each other. My cast from season 6, actually, we filmed something at the beginning of the pandemic, and then a lot of world's changed, and we haven't released it, but we're on a full group text message, and we talk to each other at least once a week. Right now, which wasn't the case before, which is nice that it's happening right now, is because we're all older and a lot more wiser.
That's neat. Thank you. Right. Did participating in American Idol change the way that you create music and rehearse? Oh, sorry, release. No, actually, rehearse your music.
I would say it upped my game a little bit, and helped with communication. Yeah,
Okay.
because it was such a large scale, and the way that they prepare each week is just like nonstop, and they have to get every material piece of music to every musician, and it just helps to have all the material ready to go for your band. Um, so now, before I have a gig or I even present anything to anyone, I get all my music together, make sure the arrangements are tight, send that off to everybody, and then we rehearse. So far as rehearsing, it made me better at rehearsing, because I come from a not necessarily a background of not rehearsing, but you get things to a point and then you kind of don't rehearse them anymore. And especially me being an improv freestyle artist where I make things up on the fly and loop them and stuff. There's no rehearsal for that. It's just a boom, go, kinetic energy with an audience, and was that. But I have a real terrible problem at remembering my own lyrics and lyrics in general, and it's my job to remember that. It's like the one thing I have to remember are the songs I'm singing. So I have to rehearse, and I usually sometimes have to have lyrics in front of me.
I was going to mention that the musical improv and then just going on the fly, that is what part of what makes you amazing. And I don't know, not many people can pull that off. That musical improv where you just stand up there and your brain has to go, and that smart and then also gutsy and brave, and
Thank
you,
you.
you like collaborate with other people as you're doing it, and
I
then also,
appreciate it.
yeah, that's an amazing thing to be able to do. Not many people do that, and then also being able to just go on the fly. That's, I think, an asset. But then it also, I like it that on the other side, you're thinking, I can better with the lyrics. But yeah, I think that's a huge part of what I like about the town. Yeah, I think it's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see. Ah, any business connections that develop as a direct result from being on American Idol?
Say that one more time.
Did any business connections develop as a direct result from being on American Idol?
Oh yeah, for sure. So many, so many. I mean, to this day, um, I'm recognized as, you're that guy that did that thing on that thing, right? You're that beatbop guy. It's beatbox. Don't want to correct people. Okay, get mad. But yeah, I'm globally. It's crazy the impact of that show, and that kind of recognition is priceless. Because entertainment sorely is, not very valued, uh, and then we're the last to get paid, basically. So that kind of connection is priceless, especially if they want to hire you to do something.
Yeah, and you're huge, and then you get forgotten. And huge, and yeah, I get that. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Why did you, we're shifting a little bit, getting into your profession. Why did you choose to make music in your career? Because I know songwriting,
Oh,
you sing in movies and
yeah. I mean, it it's in my DNA. It comes from a long line of my grandma to my mom, passed to me, of just musical talent. I think our gift to connect and create are innate in our character's design. So I started creating when I was like 5. My mom is like a bluegrass rock singer, and I just grew up watching her play guitar and singing all the time. And then when I was 11, maybe I might have been 10. Just I, I all the neighborhood kids were starting to play piano, and I was like, well, I want to do that. That's cool. And fell in love with the piano, and I was singing, and then starting to play guitar in high school, and then I found beatboxing, and then right out of high school, I got into my a cappella group, and the rest is history. I was gigging every single day for like 6 months straight when I got in my a cappella group, and I was 19.
Wow.
Yeah, I read somewhere that your mom is still performing. Is that the case?
She's got like a garage band in Wenatchee, Washington that she sits in with.
Hmm.
Oh, this is so cool. Now, you guys
Yeah.
know this, I'm from Washington too. So all the places that that Blake knows and has lived are right near where any of my family members live, because I've
Oh,
a
yeah.
bunch of brothers and sisters. So his place is about 15 minutes from my brother's house, and so Wenatchee is I mean, when I go up there, we pretty much go through Wenatchee all the time. So I'm gonna just see your mom's garage band.
Awesome. I'm
That's
sure she'd appreciate it.
Yeah, that's great.
She loves to rock out. She doesn't get to do it enough. So
That's so cool. All right.
all right. Janet, I've got another poll question for the group.
woo.
It's about performing. Let's find out what your desires are in reference to performing. Would you like to do this? Would you like to perform?
Drum roll.
All right, so we've got the results. We've got most people, just like people wanted to be in the audience
Mhm.
for the talent competition, they also want to be in the audience for the musicians. So we have a lot of people who like the feeling of that vibrational experience, of being where live music is played. Ah, you can't beat it. It's the best.
Wendy, I want to ask a question. I'm not putting you on the spot, but where do you fall?
Me?
What would
Oh, I play audience all the time. Yeah, I play audience. I'm
full
really
of
good at playing audience. I'm appreciative. I yell. I'll stand and dance.
So I'm up there with millions of people, and you're watching me in the audience. We're a good team. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's see. How about a number of media outlets say that you describe yourself as an improv musician. Can you tell us about that style? We touched on that a little bit. How has your musical style evolved, and how would you describe your musical talents now?
Interesting question. So it's evolved. I think it's just matured. I feel like I'm almost the same musician as I started out, except with better songwriting skills. When I first started out, I didn't grasp arrangement. I I liked everything fast. I was like a fast beatboxer. Everything was like, and my like mentor was like, slow down, kid, and so along the way, just becoming a songwriter and really, paying attention to melody and the words that you are trying to emote. So that's where I think I've matured and I have evolved as a songwriter and as a producer. I now produce other artists trying to get their creative vision to where they want it to be. And that takes great communication and a lot of listening and patience. So that's where I think I've evolved.
I like it that you said earlier that you don't know everything, that you're teachable, and that's one of the things that I like to hear with people who are, in any career. So
I continue to try and learn every week. Actually, Tuesdays are my tutorial Tuesdays, and I scour the internet for production tutorials and on whatever I'm trying to learn that week. So
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Steve, do you have any talents that you had thought, this is a good one, that you had thought were useless or were told that were useless, but turned out to be super useful? Please tell us how you realized that and what you did with it.
Actually, right now during COVID, you kind of have to do everything yourself. So I was really into photography. I took it for like a year. I had a bunch of nice cameras. They all got stolen, so I stopped doing that. So I would say I wouldn't know if it's a talent, but more of a passion. I really love photography and I love Photoshop, and so I've created one of my own album covers. I've done a lot of just little creative artwork pieces for friends. But I don't necessarily think that's a talent. I think that's just something that's fun. Um, I don't know. I don't think I have any, honestly.
That's definitely a talent.
I
Photography, creating an album cover. Do they still call them album covers?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Which cover was it, by the way, that you?
I have a live album called Strings, Spit, and Serenades.
Oh,
And it's a live album that was filmed at the Columbia City Music Theater in Seattle and with a string quartet. And I did a cover for that.
very cool. I'm familiar with that venue, by the way. Okay, let's see. Which famous musicians do you admire?
I guess a lot of them are the same ones that I did growing up as a kid. I mean, I love, Duran Duran, The Police, U2, but 311, BT is a musical influence who's an amazing technologist in the music industry, like a pioneer for electronic music and an amazing orchestrator and composer. And then Nick Hexum 311, and I got to know these two. I've known Brian for almost 20 years and known of Nick Hexum of 311 for that same amount of time, and was fortunate to write with both of them and create with both of them. Quincy Jones, man, there's just so many. There's so many musical influences out there and non-musical influences and artists and photographers, and I'm inspired every day. I'm inspired by, sounds in general. Like, doesn't matter what kind of sound, I'm still trying to make it with my mouth. So it's inspiration's all around us. You just have to choose to look and listen.
Great, good answer. Okay. What do you wish someone would have told you before you started this career?
Learn the business. I have been, through all the kinds of ups and downs you would think that you hear about the music industry, the cliche stories of being dropped from labels and terrible management and doing things you shouldn't be doing, and shows that you shouldn't be doing, and I've done it all. So it's really find people you trust and yeah.
Yeah, there's not everybody's not a good person. Not everybody's a good person out there. So yeah, I can understand
Yeah.
how learning the business.
It's tough to journey through this music industry, and it was based on a capitalistic, way, and it still is, and it's sad because the artist barely makes any money now. So
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint of heart. You have to be super passionate and tenacious. I would tell this me to tell the old me it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to say no.
And be careful and learn the business and
Hmm.
yeah.
Yep.
All right. What is one message you would give your fans?
That same thing. I mean, always stick to your guns. the only person that really knows you is yourself. So,
Huh,
you know, you
that's
really have to, you know, use your instincts and always go with the first one. Because it's usually right. I would say 90% of the time, your first instinct's probably the right one.
yeah, good answer. Smart guy you are. You got a lot of
I've
knowledge
been around
there.
the block.
A lot of knowledge there, Blake. Okay, let's move on, shift a little bit. Current
Okay.
activity. What's the biggest challenge for you in the music business today? And how do you manage that challenge?
Today, I mean, current, like super current, it's tough. I mean, I can't play shows and I can only do that streaming and I really don't like to stream. So the management of that is trying to get better at it, posting more things online, which I don't do. I really am an introvert when it comes to creating, unless I'm on stage. Um, and that, almost going back to another question you asked, I wish I had that talent of filming myself and creating videos every day, because there's people like YouTube artists and influencers all over the internet that are doing this every day and they're just speaking to camera and stuff, and I've never thought my life was that interesting enough to do any of that. So I think that's just kind of stuck in my head. And now that we're in this crazy, weird pandemic, you know, no, no physical, no tangible way of
Yeah,
getting entertainment out there, I have to change my mindset around that. And that's been really
yeah, it
tough for me.
doesn't translate. I mean, like performing in front of a big audience
Hmm.
and doing like, having a camera and being able to,
Hmm.
yeah,
Well, I mean,
it's
even
maybe
just in
wrong.
I'm an intimate performer too, the way that I do things, and uh, you kind of have to see it to believe it. And I feel like the presence of being around a big system, being a beatboxer, you kind of need all those elements to resonate with an audience member. Because
Yeah,
recording beatbox, it's like you play that for someone, they're like, "Oh, that's cool," but then they see it and they're like, "Wow," you know what I mean? So there's this juxtaposition, and so that's what I need to get better at doing, because I do this. I can beatbox for you on the spot, so I should be able to just film it and put it up, but I have a disconnect right there. So
it's not the same. I get that. I get
it's
that.
not the
Okay.
same.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Huh. Um, what is the biggest reward of your job, and what would surprise people most about your daily work?
The rewards are all, my favorite has always been like little kids coming up to me and like beatboxing for me, and because they saw me and it inspired them. So that's always touching and humbling that what I do has made an impact in some way. The other rewards is money and more jobs. Keeping my my music and myself afloat in this crazy economy. So
Yeah.
all the other things are just accolades, that comes with it. What comes down to it is like, am I making enough money to like support a family? Am I, not going backwards every year? Am I, doing the right things? All these things, just like in every career, kind of take
Or are you
take
a
that
waiter with
take that vacancy in your mind.
Okay, let's see. We're so curious about the continuing evolution of your creative process. Please tell us about the formation of the band Flight of Voices and creating original songs. For instance, the song Pot of Gold.
Okay, so I didn't create that band. I'm just part of the collective. That band was started by my friend Prince Board and Sophie in LA, and they're just amazing, you know, talented singer-songwriters and producers, and it's just a collective of artists that wanted to do it differently. Um, Kind of like Postmodern Jukebox, which is another collective I'm affiliated with. And Pot of Gold is my song that I brought to them, and they were doing a series at that time, filming a bunch of artists. The cool thing about Flight of Voices is that everyone that's in it has to sing everyone's song or play everyone's song. So there's usually like 5 artists, and each person sings 3 of their songs. So it's really cool. It makes for a really cool evening, and that's how that video that you're referencing came about. And it just turned out really, really cool. It was in one of the most famous studios in LA, the Village Studios, where we actually did a concert after we filmed all those. We did a whole concert for people. And it's a super fun collective, and everyone's so talented. It's crazy. So.
Yeah, we found it so unusual and so fascinating. Yeah, everyone's really talented. I like the whole collaboration.
Yeah, lots of different instrumentation from all over the world, and a lot of
Yeah,
really creative minds in that group.
how it all came together and pot of gold. I mean, okay, so what is the most important to you when you're coming? What is most important to you when you're coming up with new creative ideas? Are you thinking about marketability, personal expression, or what else? And are you doing it so, like, when people say they're out and they have ideas all the time and they're writing them
I
down on pins or
I would say personal expression, and just to get that idea out there right out the gate is just, I could be recording on my phone to do that. But to sculpt it in a certain way, as far as the context of a song as a producer, it really depends on what I'm going for. If I'm working for a client, I did a Microsoft commercial, I've done a couple Microsoft commercials, or if I'm doing a video game, or if, it really depends on what's it for. If it's for you as personal, for you, I mean, it really has to resonate with you, and that has to be with, I guess, what you're writing about. If you're trying to be cathartic and you have something on your mind that you want to get off, or there's a story you want to tell, so that's all personal. The marketing is definitely the last thing on your mind, unless your goal is, which a lot of people are in LA, is just to make money. And so you're trying to write songs that sound like the ones that are on the radio, the ones that are in movies and TV, and what is, that niche market, which right now it's for like television shows, it's like Americana sounding things, or like sports stuff. It's going to be obviously more like in your face and urban. Um, so I don't really think I'm terrible at the marketing stuff. I wish I had help. If you guys want to help me, I welcome it all.
I
But
have,
for me,
I have connections. But isn't
okay,
that like
call me.
people out there are doing it for the for the marketing, and that they're trying to make it sound like everything else so they can, and doing it on social media so they can just get the money. I mean, I'm going off on a tangent, but anyway, so yeah, that's I can
Well,
understand.
it really depends on what kind of artist you are too. I mean, my album, I'm kind of a hybrid pop artist with some jazz influence and hip hop and electronic. So can I put myself in a box? I can do an electronic album. I've done a dance album. I've done a pop album. I've done a live album with strings. I've done, you know what I mean? So, and it's really your timeline. And for you to be contemporary, are you trying to produce your songs like the producers that have songs out there right now? Or are you trying to produce it to sound like it's from the 1950s? So those do play in your thought process, when you are making an album. But I guess it's singular to that artist of what it's
And
going to sound like.
the creative process is more important than
I think so. Many Many rich artists would disagree.
I like that about the integrity. All right, so let's get to our last section, which is recommendations. So taking risks is such a big part of taking on anything new. You have experimented with so much in the creative business world. How have you prepared yourself for the unknown?
Ooh. I mean, that's tough. I would say where we're at right now is the unknown. So my preparation is just my years of doing the work, putting in the work, learning your instruments and, still crafting who you are and if you have set goals for yourself. And, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I know I'm still going to be, you know, creating and calling people and asking for help and asking if people want to be a part of what I'm doing. And I guess that's how you prepare for the unknown. Staying healthy, mind, body, and soul.
Absolutely. Janet, I have another poll.
Hey, yay. All right.
Who likes to practice?
Sometimes practice is about going back to the base.
Yeah.
So it looks like, yeah, maybe some people don't like to practice so much. Slow to respond, but there's a lot to read here. So
Okay. You want me to keep moving or are you?
Oh, there it is.
Got it.
There it is.
That makes sense. Yeah. Everybody has different interests.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. So have you experienced the impact of social media and the internet in general on your music business?
For sure, yes. Just recently, I mean, I had a new song come out yesterday on a new label and a new group. And leading up to it, I didn't know how big the impact would be, just because it's all brand new. And I, over the weekend, that label was like, follow all our artists. I happen to be one of them. And I, got about 7,000 new Instagram followers and Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff over the weekend, which is really cool. You don't see that kind of impact, and people are loving the song. So far as the promotion of a new group, a new label, and a new song, it's really fun. I get to see some of the analytics behind that, but not all of it because I don't own the record label. Um, so I didn't really get to see that kind of stuff happening in the beginning of my career because social media wasn't a big thing. There was no Spotify. I don't even think there was Pandora when I came out. Yeah, there was Pandora. I think it was the only thing out. MySpace was a big deal. You know what I mean? And no television show was talking about social media when I was on TV. So I didn't see the impact as it were. Had I been on American Idol today, I'd probably have like millions of people because they watch that show and they're so seeing it this weekend was really cool because it's not for me. My stuff has grown organically. It's very grassroots because I was late to the game. I was late on Facebook. I was late on Twitter. You know what I mean? TikTok's like the big thing. I'm like, there's just so many things. Snapchat and there was Vine. I was, so I see the impact because it's the only way that you get to sell music basically now, unless you have a label and they're putting money behind their email campaign and promoting it and doing music videos. I definitely see what happens now, and if you're good at reading your own analytics, then you'll probably be better at selling yourself.
Congratulations, by the way, 7,000.
Thank you.
I mean, that's fantastic for a new song.
It's fun. It's a
So,
new song. It's called Disappear. Go
yeah,
listen, everybody.
listen,
Might not be your cup of tea. It's very bass music. It's
very good.
very, it's very epic.
But 10 times today, over and over. It's really good.
Oh, thank you.
I love it.
Analytics.
I
Yeah.
followed you. Yeah. Okay. So, two more questions. Let's see. What can you recommend for our participants on this call who may be interested in getting into the music business? And is the advice any different if they have their own unique business or improv original styles?
First question is how
Um,
should they go about getting into the industry?
what do you recommend for our participants who may be interested in getting into the music industry?
Um, it depends. If you're trying to learn music, find a great music school. Um, because it used to be like record stores. You could walk in and talk to people for hours about music and then learn. The same thing with like music schools. Um, Meet people that are like-minded. Um, there's a couple amazing books out there if you want to read. One by Ari Hurstan, and another one by Donald Passman. Um, um, I guess I can look them up for you if you would like to know them.
You don't have to do it.
Okay. Yeah, Ari Herstand, Ari Herstand, and Donald Passman. One's How to Make It in the Music Business, but Ari's book is for independent artists, so I would suggest that one. And you can get it on Amazon. It's a great read, and he interviews everyone. TuneCore, CD Baby, Symphonic. Learn about publishing rights, learn about copyright, because it's a little confusing. Everything's done in like 200% instead of 100%. The way you earn your monies, the way you get mechanical royalties. So I would learn about that because I didn't know anything of that. When I was 19, I had a number one in Seattle with a hip hop group that I wrote and sang on, and I got no money from that. So I learned the hard way. So you shouldn't have to do that, because you never know what's going to happen. I was just like, came into a friend's studio, wrote a hook, sang it. A couple months later, it was on the radio. And, when you're like 19, you're like, what? You don't know anything. And, so now I know a lot. I've made a lot of money in this industry, and I've lost a lot of money in this industry. And you have to invest in yourself. So put the money behind yourself, get the right people on board, read all you can, do tutorials, search YouTube. Now all the secrets are out there, and you can obtain it super easily in 1 week. And really have goals for yourself. And yeah, I mean, me making goals, I have like a month goal, a 3 month, 6 month plan, because everything's in a cycle in the music industry. It's create, how are you going to release it? Are you making content? Are you going to tour it? Are you going to sell merchandise? And then it happens again. As soon as that tour is done, or maybe you get lucky and you can tour an album for 2 years and people are still coming out, and they're not giving you too hard a time about not making new music. But nowadays, everyone's like, you have a song out, they like it for a week, and they're waiting for the next song. So
I like that you
it's
said that because a lot of musicians just keep putting music out there, and people think that, I mean, the perception is they just keep just having the money pour in. But I like it that you have a deliberate 3 month plan, 6 month plan, and that you have to be managing yourself all the time, because it's not like it used to be. So I like that you said that, and to do your homework and do your research.
Yeah, I mean, I try every week. I still try and do meetings as much as possible. I try and, talk to lawyers and anyone I can in the music industry and see who's, in the head of, the forefront of the industry and where it's going, because it's ever changing. Um, Spotify is here to stay, and there's been bills to try and get them to pay more because they're not paying only the top 1% of Spotify artists are the people actually getting paid. So it's you gotta stay in tune with what's going on. If you're trying to make money, if you just want to do this for you and your family members and stuff, you can do whatever you want. But if you're trying to make money in this industry and try and be a touring artist, you really got to put a lot of work in and be tenacious.
Yeah.
And
And on that note, we want to be respectful of your time, Blake. It is 2:00 right now. You did say you needed to cut out exactly at 2.
Yes, I do. Unfortunately.
So we wanted to just, say thank you very much for coming. And
Thank you so much for having me.
it was such a pleasure. And as you part, we are going to do one more polling session. And also, before we do that, we just want to remind everybody, what is the name of your song? Just what is it called?
It's called Disappear,
Disappeared.
and it's with a band called Everything Must Go. It's EDM future bass music. It sounds like it should be in like the Avengers movie or something, or some video game.
gorgeous song. You can get it on Instagram, and if you just Google it, I mean, you'll be able to find it.
Yeah, it's on Spotify. Disappear. Yeah.
It sounds like the message for success is study and practice. Be prepared.
Yes, be prepared.
Blake, thank you so much. Pleasure meeting you.
Oh,
Thank
so
you,
good meeting
Blake.
you. Bye, everyone. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Thank
Have
you.
a
Bye, Blake. Thank you so
wonderful-
much.
Thank you, Blake.
Yeah, have a wonderful
Thank you, and
week.
God bless you.
Hey, God bless you all.
All right.
All right, cheers.
All right. And as before we all go as a group, I had one more poll to do. So let's just do that. Blake had so many
Okay.
wonderful suggestions. Let's find out if you're ready to do some of those suggestions. So can you see the poll? It's a lot of reading. I know.
Yeah.
All right. Got a few people responding. Basically, people seem like, yeah, they'll try some of the things, we'll see how it goes. Okay. I get it. We want to have you dream big.
Mm,
Get out
Too
there
much
and-
work.
Yes, okay.
Just came on the call, Wendy.
Yeah, I saw that. So I'm going to share the results and
Oh,
see, right? And then, Joseph, if you'd like to say anything to the group, please unmute yourself. If you want to say stealth, oops, too late.
Hi there, everyone.
hi.
Sorry that I came on late. It's been very busy, but yeah, I was just looking at Blake Lewis's YouTube.
Amazing.
Hi, Jamie. See Jamie, and I also see Tiffany and Courtney. But anyway, I'm glad that you enjoyed the presentation by Blake. So, and I was trying to see, is Harold Bale wasn't on this Zoom meeting?
No.
Okay.
Oh, Harold was earlier. He was, yes.
Okay, I'll give him a call.
Yeah.
His thoughts.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Joseph.
Good to see you guys.
All right, I'm going to stop
I'm
the
looking at two
recording.
screens here.
Thank you, everybody.
All
Right.
right. Thank you, everyone.